What's going on, good people? It is your favorite cousins, Kicking It with T and A. Welcome back to our channel. Listen, this is our first video in a long time, and we are back giving y'all content. Y'all already saw our catch-up video. If you have not, click that right there. Click it. So you can see where we've been and what's been going on. But we are back in full effect. So now we are here with another video. Let's go. Roll the intro. All right. So what's tonight's topic, you guys?
Tonight's topic is triggered.
Triggered. It's a trigger. I'm triggered. It's a trigger.
And we're not just talking along the lines of when someone like makes you upset, but we're just talking about different experiences. In order for you to be triggered, you had to experience something to cause for you to be triggered. So we're just talking about the actions that leads up to someone being triggered, whether it's insecurity,
being upset, being happy, being sad, being depressed, being excited. It's all a trigger. So we're talking about triggers. We're talking about triggers. We're talking about being triggered. We're talking about dealing with the trigger. We're focusing on also those who fail to realize that they were a trigger after you have told them that they triggered you. And, we're talking about all of it, you guys. So let's get into it.
Child, this is going to be a funny episode for me, you guys.
It's going to be good. I'm excited. Who wants to start?
You want to go first? Because you sound like you got a lot of
you. You got it, definitely.
Trigger is caused by a particular action, process, or situation. I'm going to read that's, Google. But I'm going to read you the Urban Dictionary.
What do the urban folks say?
Trigger, an emotion, psychological reaction caused by something that someone relates to an upsetting time or happening in someone's life. This reaction is often found to happen in war veterans, people who suffer from PTSD, depression, and other mental disorders.
That's the definition of being triggered. And I think it also can be happy, joyful. It could trigger a laugh. It could trigger a smile. I have moments where I'm triggered, where I smell something and I'm reminded of my grandmother. Or I'll see someone and I'm reminded of my grandmother. It triggers a memory from my grandmother. And so my maternal grandmother, it triggers and it makes me smile. Sometimes it makes me cry because I miss her. You know what I'm saying? So, so yeah, those are some triggers. I mean, a lot of times people don't talk about the trigger though. You get triggered and then you want to like bear it to the side or push it off. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't deal with it. So, like I said, having a trigger of my grandmother, how I deal with that, I pretty much just simply, like I said, I'll smile, I'll laugh, or I'll cry. Sometimes me, my mom, my aunt will be sitting around talking about my grandparents because my grandparents just recently passed. Like my grandfather passed 3 years ago and my grandmother 5 years ago. So it's kind of still fresh. And so we'll be sitting around talking about them and we'll be laughing and hee-heeing. And then I'll just start crying because I'm the emotional one. I don't know why. But I'll just start crying because I miss them. Not crying because I'm sad, but I just miss them sometimes. So, yeah. So that's how I deal with that particular trigger. Oh, wait. It's the beginning.
I know.
I can't just dive.
Levels. Grief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like sometimes I miss my best friend, so it triggers me to cry. So
yeah.
That was my best friend of 20 years, y'all. Passed away 3 years ago. So
yeah.
So that's a trigger. Like And then also, you know, it takes realizing that something is a trigger. And once you realize it is a trigger, then it takes saying, okay, how do I move past this? How do I get over this? Because it is a trigger for me. You know what I'm saying? So you just start to have these conversations with yourself, and sometimes with a therapist or a life coach. I got an appointment this week.
But yeah, like Tiffany said, like there are actions that cause, or experiences that causes you to like be triggered.
Has the voice changed for me? I know where it's going.
You know. But yeah, so you have like different experiences. Do I get triggered a lot? I don't know, because it just depends on the situation. Because if you make me mad, or if you've been dismissive to me,
that's a trigger for her. You guys, I'm stuttering. That's how bad it is. That's a trigger for her.
Like, don't be dismissive.
And you don't even be being dismissive, but it's a trigger for her because she been through something where somebody was dismissive. And it's like, I ain't being dismissive.
Don't be dismissive. That's like a trigger for me. But like along the line, like trigger like grief and experiences. Like I've been referring to my grandmama a lot this week. I guess because my grandmother passed, but it's been like over 10 years though. But death is something that you never get over. It's always, you know, prevalent, and
it can always trigger.
Yeah, so like I just been referring to my grandma a lot. I guess because I know for a fact because I miss my grandma, and then like my dad.
For those that don't know about your dad.
Oh yeah, my dad passed when I was 16. So yeah, like that'll trigger me. And then I think, well, it's not I think. My cousin, he passed, which is like, he was like my brother. So like that triggered me, especially when like stuff be going on throughout the community and politics and stuff like that. It's like, dang, I can't even call him and talk to him about it. But like certain little things like that, it triggers. But yeah, so you have to acknowledge it and then, you know, move past it. I even get triggered. Those are like sad triggers. But happy triggers, like when I see like love is being displayed, like that triggers me. Like when I hear certain songs, it triggers me. Like
it triggers a memory.
Yes, like if I hear Best Part by Daniel Caesar, and is it her?
You're the best part.
Like when I hear that, like that triggers me.
You're the best part.
Like when I hear that song, it not that the way she, but when I hear the music, it just gives me happy feelings or whatever. Or even like if I hear Aaliyah, like if I hear any Aaliyah song, it like triggers me. It triggers the emotions to be like calm, cool, and collected. Like different things, like you have good triggers, calm triggers, and we all know, like when you're talking to somebody and he call you, and you probably on 10, but he like, man, chill out. Or you know something like he can soothe you. That's a trigger because you're like, let me calm down. You know, like somebody can text me and I be like, I'm chill.
This is true.
So I'm just saying, triggers are different types. You have sad triggers, you have happy, you have even motivational triggers, because when you be around somebody or when you see someone progress, yes, like it triggers you to want to be positive and to be, so it's like it's different.
It's triggers like like-minded people.
Yes,
so, like-minded people or people that are where you want to be. You know.
Or even not where you want to be, or people who are striving and who are actually making progress to get there. That also triggers you to want you to be, to push and like to go further. So yeah, That's a trigger. So trigger is like so many different things that you can just like, pull from. So
also you can, so back to what she was saying, when you're talking to somebody, all right, so when you're talking to somebody those first couple of months, right, you can basically find out a lot about that individual just by saying certain words.
I need to get my nose.
Or
I'm sorry. I ain't want nobody to say, "Oh, she digging her nose on camera." No, I'm not.
Okay. So when you're talking to someone, you can find out a lot about them in the very first couple of months, because certain words you say or certain things you do may trigger them. Like, if you say for instance, y'all are just talking, y'all are just having a conversation, and you say, okay, well, hey, I think you have an MO, and they like that just sends them over and above, and it's like, well, what did I say? This is a conversation, we just talking, you know what I'm saying? So you can say certain things and you find out their insecurities and everything when you say certain things. Like some women, I'm pretty sure men, y'all are wondering about this, because I know my brothers, if they tell a woman she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, and a lot of times, even my friends, a lot of times they'll come back and be like, okay, when I tell her that, she shies away from it, or she dismisses the comment or the compliment, and they're like, why? Well, it's an insecurity in her that she doesn't see herself as beautiful, or she doesn't see herself as gorgeous. I have some friends that say, well, he tells me I'm beautiful all the time, he tells me I'm gorgeous all the time, but I'm so used to people saying that I don't know if I can take them serious. I don't know how to deal with that. So it's like you build up this wall or this insecurity.
Then when you meet somebody like, man, I'm like, I know. Tell me something I don't know. Tell me their credit score. Nah, this one.
Tell me what that bank account say.
Tell me what that bank account says. What that debit card. I don't know. I'm just playing. No, I'm serious though.
No, that black card. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, people build up their insecurities and everything like that. And people have a lot of insecurities. That's what really is the trigger. That's the trigger. Like, it's really the fact that people have insecurities. Like, people have insecurities from their past situations. Those really are your triggers. And the thing about it is, we have to learn how to deal with that, y'all. Like, we have to learn how to deal with these triggers, deal with these insecurities, deal with these past situations. One thing I have learned, you guys, and I haven't even told A this, so I'm watching her face when I say this. But you guys, one thing I will say that I have learned, instead of saying I took a L, I'm saying it didn't happen the way I wanted it. The outcome was not what I wanted. But that's okay, because God still got something great for me. God has something better for me. That's on any level. That's with relationships. That's with my career. That's with my finances. Anything that I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to make an investment and it fell through or whatever, I don't say I took an L. Not anymore. I'm not taking L's. It didn't happen the way I wanted it. It didn't come out the way I wanted it. The investment didn't happen the way I wanted it. It didn't go through the way I wanted it. And that's okay, because I'm not living for what I want. I'm living for what he wants. So I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen in his timing, the way he wanted, where he wanted, with who he wanted. So I'm now looking at life like that. So, what? Say what you need to say. Can you have nothing to say somewhere else?
What do you want me to say?
I want you to say what you need to say.
It took a long time, y'all. She made it.
So yeah, it's about learning how to look at life different, y'all. Instead of looking at it in a negative eye, look at it in a positive way. There's nothing wrong with you. That person just maybe didn't get it, or that idea just didn't come through. It didn't happen. It's not to say it won't happen. What?
Are we still talking about trigger?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm talking about triggers and how to deal with it.
Oh, okay. Girl, my mind went blank, so I just tried to figure out what we was doing. Okay, go. I'm like, where are we going with this?
Anyways, I'm talking about how to deal with triggers and insecurities. Because triggers come from insecurity. So that's what I'm talking about.
Also, trigger comes from disappointments.
Exactly.
So.
And disappointments cause you to have an insecurity. When those disappointments happen over and over and over and over. When you keep being told no, 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 no. Or if you're in relationships, if somebody keeps saying cheat and cheat and cheat and cheat, you build up.
But somebody asks you if I call you got your name.
You said what? See, I want you to say that.
I mean, it's kind of like if somebody asks you like, would you ever call me out my name? So that means that somebody
done called you out your name plenty of times before.
That's a trigger.
That's the trigger. Being called out your name.
Yeah. So, like, even with like experiences is like the best teacher. The reason being because even though somebody trigger also lets you know if you have gotten over something and if you have healed from something. And I'm speaking along the lines of like relationships. Like if that person can like say something or do something and it triggers you, have you really gotten over what happened in the past?
Well, it's not even that you haven't. Sometimes it's just you haven't dealt with that.
You haven't dealt. That's what I'm saying. You haven't healed from that insecurity or that experience that you had. You had or whatever. So because
it's just you haven't healed. Sometimes it ain't that you ain't over it. You just haven't healed.
Because it's like now, like for me. Sorry, y'all.
Are you over your last situation? Have you healed from your last situation?
From my last situation, yes, I have healed from that.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm making a lot of noise with this mic. I'm sorry.
I healed from that, but I also learned a lot from that. And so, in healing, like there's no time limit on healing. A lot of times we try to put like a time limit on stuff, but with that, it's not. So, like for me, like now, like if that person like reach out to me or whatever, like I won't have like any type of emotion. Ooh, this gonna be on camera. My bad, y'all. Sorry. Still trying to get over what I got going on over here. Allergy season. Can't wait. It's triggering. See, even smells trigger stuff that go off in your body. It's a trigger. What was I saying?
You're talking about being triggered.
Oh yes. So like Tiffany asked, was I over my last situation? And yes. So if that person, well, yeah, I'm over it. And triggers. Then also like, child, this is a mess.
Go ahead.
Also like dealing with triggers. We think a lot of times triggers just emotions and stuff like that, but also it can like play a part with your body too. Like if your body recognizes something or feels certain type of way, it would trigger to let you know like, hey, this is
somebody is used to being called out of their name. Like if they're in an argument or whatever and they're used to people getting upset and then calling them out of their name, like honestly I feel like that is a trigger. However, if a person is willing to call you out your name during the argument and they call you ugly or they call you whatever they call you, listen, that's how they really feel. Okay, that's how they really feel. They just don't say it to you. Okay, like so as soon as they get upset, if they call you ugly all the time, or if they call you anorexic, or if they call you fat, MF, or something like that, that's how they really feel about you. Like, that's point blank in the period. Like, you need to get out that situation. But that's a trigger for you. If you think that a person is going to take advantage of you all the time, or if you can't trust, you haven't dealt with that past situation or that past experience where you don't trust people now. Like, you really have to deal with your situations in order to your losses, or what feels like a loss, your experiences, your bad experiences. Like, you need to deal with those, because once you deal with those, then it'll be easier for you to move forward in relationships. But you got to learn how to deal with those. They turn into triggers. This video all over the place.
It really is.
It's all over the place.
Yeah. But yeah, so like trigger, Are y'all triggered by watching this video?
Are you triggered? Oh, if somebody posts something on social media and you think it's about you, that's a trigger. Like, you need to deal with it because it's triggering you.
Yeah. That means that you got an issue with that person that's unresolved.
Yeah,
and
you got
feel
an
like
issue.
That person is talking about you.
Yes.
But they could
be talking about somebody else.
Or they could be talking about you.
They could be talking about you. Or they could just be talking about a past experience that they had, and maybe you are that past experience.
That's a trigger.
That's a trigger for you. Either way, you need to either address it or you need to move past it.
Yeah.
And you need to deal with your insecurities, deal with yourself. If it makes you upset to see the last person you was talking to or dating or in a relationship with, whatever, if it makes you upset to see that person, or if it makes you upset to see that person with somebody else, you need to go deal. If that's a trigger, you need to go deal, because you're not over them or you're not over it. But either way, you need to go deal, because men do that a lot. I don't know about the women, but the men do it a lot. Like, y'all see something go off in y'all. She's happy, she's moving on without me, and then here y'all come.
Mm-hmm. I experienced that a lot more than others.
Yeah.
But I just be like, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, did I do this for everybody?
No. Okay. Is that right? I'm for shit in the mug.
Okay, Chris.
Okay. So yeah, you guys. So this video is all over the place. We talking crazy. We've been going through a lot, y'all. We've been dealing with a lot.
I just been chilling.
Well, I've been through a lot, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it's been a rocky few months here. But actually more than a few months. However, nevertheless, I've learned a lot, you guys. I've learned a lot. And
triggers are lessons that have went unlearned.
Yes. Now that's a word. That'll preach. Triggers are lessons that have gone unlearned. You have to learn the lesson, y'all. And everything that you go through and every experience that you have, learn from it, you guys. Don't just
push it off to the side.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you failed or something like that.
Yeah, don't feel like you're a failure, or don't feel like something is wrong with you. Don't feel like why this happened to you. Of course you will have those moments, of course you will ask yourself that. But once you get out of that, once you get done with that, don't stay there. Once you get done with that, learn. Go back. See what you could have done better. See what mistakes were made. And then just move forward. Don't stay in that place, y'all. And that's how you get over triggers. That's honestly, truly how you get over triggers.
And those are bad triggers.
Yeah.
Like, good triggers, okay. But bad triggers, toxic triggers, things that will hold you back from finding peace and joy, you have to get over that, because you're never going to have peace and you're never going to have joy because you're still dealing with those triggers. But once you release those triggers and you get over those triggers, you'll start to find peace and you'll start to find joy.
You said get over and release those triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, baby, you got to release that person. That person can be a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about negative bad triggers.
Yes.
That person can be a trigger. Mm-hmm. If you find yourself not having peace around them, or not having peace when talking to them, or whenever you dealing with them, if they just cause toxicity to arise, it's time to let them go. It's time to just let that whole situation go. It's time to cut that off. That's block, delete. Do what you need to do, honey. You got to go. Because my block button's strong. My delete button's stronger.
Yeah, so those are triggers. Like, everyone should be to the point where no negative action or person or words have dominion over you. You should be to a place where if you see someone that you have had a conflict with and y'all become y'all exchange paths, there should not be a emotion arising in you, a negative emotion,
or changing how you
there
are.
should just be peace in you. And that's how you know that you're really over something. And you can be in the midst of someone who has like did you wrong or whatever the case may be, and you don't get any emotions or you don't feel any type of way. You have, you're over this situation. Now let me say this. Just because a lot of times we do this in the Black community. We do this with family members. If you know that your family member is toxic, there's nothing wrong with you distancing yourself from your toxic family member. If they are causing, if they're trying to, come in, or even if they disturb your peace, because your peace is more important than anything. So if you have a family member that you like, hey, I just can't deal with, it's too much, that is okay too. But even though you have healed from whatever the situation may be that y'all have had,
it doesn't mean you have to entertain it.
It means, you don't have to entertain. I don't know why our culture feels as if you have to entertain. You do not have to entertain. That's why you have a lot of generational curses. And I'm just saying.
And that's why you have a lot of incest.
A lot of triggering.
And stuff going on in families, because people want you to still be around these people and you ain't got to be around them. And you just being honest. I'm just going to call it for what it is.
Yeah, and also that's why you have a lot of triggers. That's why the family can't get together, because they're triggered by another family member.
And when they start drinking, it all comes out.
That too. Or when you just have one of the family members who just don't care, they're going to say what they want to say. You go. So triggers, bad triggers, you just have to learn how to release, get over it. Is there a time frame to getting over something? There's never a time frame. Don't let anyone tell you
you should be over this.
Yeah, you should be over this by now. No. You get over it when you get over it. The only way you be healed is over time.
And just letting God do it.
Exactly. So, yeah.
If you want to be here, yeah.
Oh, that's what I talk about today in church. But yeah, so with your good
triggers,
with your good triggers and your happy triggers, that's good. Like being around people who motivate and who you can just like feed off of their energy and their vibes, and it causes for you to push. Now you also have to be, have your eye open for those who just want to be around you and take all your energy.
And drain
you. Because that's a trigger. Okay? Draining your energy is a trigger. And sometimes people usually sense when somebody's like draining them or whatever the case may be. But yeah, just focus on your good triggers. Don't worry about your bad triggers. Even when it comes down to relationships. For relationships, like the person who you're with, they're supposed to bring out the best in you, not the worst in you.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be vice versa.
And they're supposed to motivate you.
Yeah,
you are supposed to motivate each other.
Yes,
and nobody's dreams or goals
are going unwanted or
whatever, or pushed to the side. Y'all supposed to motivate each other and push each other towards y'all goals. And if y'all not doing that, then there needs to be a conversation had. And if after that conversation is still not happening, then y'all need to go your separate ways, because it's not meant to be.
Then on top of that, also
stop holding on to stuff just because of years. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then also just because one thing about relationships is that relationships are not always going to be easy, and they're not always going to be happy days. But what makes a relationship stronger is when those bad days come and you don't let your trigger from your past come into your next.
I can be honest, you guys. For me, I'm the type of person that I will shut down and I don't want to talk. I want to be done with the conversation. I want to be through with the conversation, and I'll be like, I will deal with this in a minute. Let me go calm down. Let me go chill first. I'm a whole Capricorn. Like, don't press us. You press us, we get very upset and triggered. So I have learned, I will say this year, 2021, September 2021, from January 2021 to now, I have learned to stay. I have learned to stay and have a conversation. I have learned to talk the conversation at y'all. I done learned a lot. Like, a lot. Like, I still have to have my moment so that I can go and think about it and really contemplate on what I want to say, make sure my thoughts are whole, make sure I'm being understood. But I have learned to address how I'm feeling, put it out there, and say what I feel, and just say what I mean and mean what I say, and stand confident and be comfortable behind that. So I've learned that, you guys. And it makes me feel good to get it out too and say it. Like, I've learned that, you guys. So yeah, for sure. What?
Interesting.
God is good.
Yes, he is. He is awesome.
Gotta have the right people around you. So yeah, I've learned that, you guys. I've learned how to communicate, basically. I've learned how to communicate, a different level of communication. Don't get me wrong, I do know how to communicate. I've been known how to communicate, but a different level of communication. Now, instead of just being triggered and keeping it to myself, I'm actually addressing how I feel and saying it and keeping it 100. And you don't have to like it, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm saying. You ain't gotta like it, but you gonna respect it. So, and if you don't, you can keep pushing. So yeah, that's what I've learned. So most definitely work on yourself. Work on yourself.
In the words of Lauryn Hill, you can't win if you ain't right within.
Work on yourself, you guys.
So if you got triggers and emotions you need to work on it. And I'm telling you, like, once you work on that, you'll start to find peace. And you'll just, I'm such a nonchalant individual. I just be like, okay, whatever. Just don't be dismissive. And then I'm happy.
We can talk about it.
Tell the story.
Okay, you guys. She said I could talk about it. Words are triggers for people as well. Not just actions, but words can sometimes be triggers. Like, I'll talk about me and my cousin. Everybody knows we're cousins. Everybody knows, like, that's like my best friend. That's my best cousin. That's my best dog. So we'll be having conversations. And you guys, I promise, I am not being dismissive. I'm not a dismissive person. I want you to say how you feel. But, like, if I see the conversation not going nowhere, I'm just going to be like, all right, that's the end of the conversation. Because we ain't coming to no resolution. Let's just move on. So I'll be like, such and such. But I digress. I feel like her head grows and green stuff start coming out because I said I digress. I say I digress to everybody. Go ahead. Talk about it.
So, when
I want to hear this.
Okay, let me tell y'all.
Look at the posture. It's the arms crossed and everything.
We had a conversation about something, and she didn't want to talk about it no more. So she said, I digress. See, she started to shut down. Me, on the other hand, I'm not going to stop talking about it. And I told her, like, I just feel like you're, like, being dismissive. So what? You're just being dismissive. No, I said, I'm not finished saying what I got to say. Did I say that?
No.
What I said?
You said, I said, well, I digress. And then you said, now I feel like you're being dismissive. I said, how am I being dismissive if I say I digress?
Because that means you don't want to talk about it.
Because I'm not finished talking about it. And I said, well, I'm done with the conversation. And then you said, well, I'm not. I said, okay, cool. Talk to yourself because I'm done.
No, I'm going to talk to you because that's who I was having a conversation with.
No, you was talking to me. I just didn't have nothing to say back because I was like, this ain't going nowhere. And instead of having an argument, I'd rather just be like, all right, this ain't going nowhere. Let's move along.
And then what happened?
You kept talking.
And then what happened if I kept talking?
I had something to say.
Exactly.
No. Actually, no, I didn't have nothing to say. I was quiet. And you was like, no, don't be quiet. Say something. Say what you need to say. She loved to say what you need to say. So it was, say what you need to say. And I was like, I have nothing. And then you was like, nah. And that's when I said what I needed to say.
See,
but I learned from that. But also it was a trigger for me because of one of my friendships that I had it always turned into an argument. And I'm not an argumentative person. I'm not a what's the word?
I don't know.
I'm not an argumentative person, and I'm not. For me, the reason I did that is because, like I said, in one of my past friendships, it always became an argument, and I just did not want to argue. I was like, I'd rather just be quiet and not share my opinion, so that, you know, I don't upset you, or so that we don't argue, or we fall out or whatever. Because I had a friendship like that I would just say how I feel, and then we fall out, and I'm like, we're grown, we should be able to talk about this and keep it pushing. And so I didn't want that to happen with my cousin, so I just would shut down and not share my opinion. And I had started doing that not only in my friendships, but also in relationships and stuff like that. I would start doing that with men. Like, I would just not share my opinion because I'm like, well, I don't want to make anybody upset, or I don't want to trigger anybody, so I'm just not gonna say nothing. And so that's something that I had to heal from, that I'm still healing from. That's why I say I'm proud of myself for saying how I feel and putting it out there, and saying it in a way that's not triggering, or in a way that's calm, collective, and that can be received. Now, if you don't receive it, that's just on you. I'm gonna say what I need to say, but that's why I say that. So yeah. So at the end of the day, we kept talking, y'all, and came to a little resolution or whatever.
Well, don't downplay it.
See what I mean? You see what I mean?
No, I'm like, don't downplay it, because it's like, it helped you find your voice.
I was joking, though.
Okay, even though you was joking.
I was joking.
But still, like, now.
So she's like, damn right.
So I'm just like, now, you don't have a problem with telling people how you feel.
That's true. It's the crossing of the arms for me.
No, I'm just saying, like, so I'm the type of person where I'm just we're gonna talk it out. We're not gonna, because by not talking, that gives eerie emotions, and what happens? It piles up, it piles up, it piles up. Whether just go ahead and talk about it and be done.
I'm cool with talking about it, but like I said, I'm a full-blown Capricorn. Give me a minute. Because I know I go from here to here. So,
secret, she didn't have a minute that day.
I did not have a minute that day. That day I did not. I tried to take my minute, but somebody, I didn't want to be rude and click, and then it would have been a whole nother issue. Like, oh, you hung up in my face. So, I didn't want to do that. So, I was just like, and plus, this was different. This is my cousin. So, I was just like, all right, cool. So, no, I did not have a minute that day. Actually, I did have a minute that day, because when I said I digressed and I was done talking about it, she was like, well, no, because we need to finish this. And I was like, there's nothing to finish. I'm done. And she was like, well, I'm not. And so she started talking. And in that moment, I put the phone on speaker, and I went and left, went wherever I was, because I was cleaning my room. So I went and did what I needed to do in the closet, and came back out, and I took my moment while she was talking. So I took my moment.
Yeah, I wasn't talking that long.
I just didn't hang up. A minute is 60 seconds.
I know.
You was talking 60 seconds. So I took my moment.
Well, yeah.
I just didn't take a long moment, like how I was used to taking a long moment and then being like, all right, now I'm calm. Now I can talk. Okay, you guys. Anyways, that's triggered.
She's triggered, guys. So we're going to end it on this note.
I am not triggered. I'm good.
Say Sagittarius.
I just want to put that example in there just so y'all can have and see how we handle it. And yeah, so she's more so, and she's the older cousin too, so she's more so, let's stay, let's talk it out. And I'm more, and I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get to where I'm like, okay, let's stay, let's talk it out. Let's not raise our voices. Let's not get crazy. Let's not do none of that. Let's be adults and let's talk. So I'm getting there.
And you're not gonna get there overnight though. It takes time.
All I can tell y'all,
It's time
from
for her
January to September, I done improved a lot. Now I can have a conversation, y'all, with a Sag. It's crazy. Anyways, Kicking It with TNA. Make sure you press that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you press that subscribe button. And make sure you go over to Instagram, follow us at Kicking It with TNA, and we out.